Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into Exodus chapter 14 today.
Right, a moment that's just packed with drama, really pivotal stuff.
Absolutely. So the scene is set. The Israelites have just left Egypt.
Mm.
A huge step.
Massive.
But the journey immediately hits this, well, seemingly impossible obstacle. The Red Sea, dead ahead.
And it gets worse, because as the story unfolds, Pharaoh's army is thundering up behind them.
Yeah, the ultimate pressure point, really.
And our mission here for this deep dive is to kind of pull back the layers on this narrative. Look at the strategic choices described, the raw human fear, and these incredible, almost tangible acts of intervention the text talks about.
We want to understand the motivations, the reactions, the whole dramatic outcome.
Exactly. And what's fascinating right away is that this isn't presented as just, bad luck or an accidental dead end.
No, the narrative tells us this was a very deliberate setup. There was a specific instruction given to Moses.
Directly from the Lord, yeah, about where to go. We're told the Lord instructed Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back, essentially, and camp in this precise location.
Right, near Pi-Hahiroth.
Positioned between Migdol and the sea, right opposite Baal-zephon. And if you look at the geography described,
It totally boxes them in.
completely, sea in front, desert, mountains, they look trapped.
And the text is explicit about the why. Why this seemingly terrible strategic move.
Yeah, the Lord states the purpose pretty clearly.
Yeah.
It was to make Pharaoh think, oh, the Israelites are wandering around, confused.
Hemmed in by the desert, like sitting ducks.
Right, designed to lure him in.
Which leads directly to that next piece of the strategy described.
The hardening of the heart. The text says, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them.
So it's not just predicting Pharaoh's reaction. The text says God is actively influencing his decision.
Actively influencing. This idea of hardening the heart. It often seems to mean reinforcing Pharaoh's existing stubbornness, his resistance, but for a bigger purpose.
And that ultimate goal, stated by the Lord, it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah. He declares, I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army.
So that the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord.
Right. The whole event is framed as this deliberate, massive demonstration of divine power and identity.
Intended for everyone involved, really, Egyptians and Israelites.
Yeah. And what's striking is how quickly things shift back in Egypt once the news gets there.
They find out the Israelites have actually fled, for real this time.
And Pharaoh and his officials.
Yeah.
Immediate change of heart. Total regret.
Their reaction is quoted directly, isn't it? What have we done?
We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services.
Think about that. After all the plagues, after finally letting them go.
Their first thought is the economy, the lost labor.
It's a really sudden realization of the cost, yeah.
And this regret, it doesn't just, sit there. It spurs immediate action, decisive action.
The chapter describes Pharaoh getting his chariot ready, mobilizing the whole army.
And the detail is significant. 600 of the best chariots.
Along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them.
This isn't just any force. This is Egypt's elite military, top tier.
And again, the narrative hammers home the divine hand in this pursuit. It notes,
The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites.
who were marching out boldly. There's a contrast there, isn't there? Israel marching out confidently.
While Pharaoh, driven by this hardened heart, is coming after them with overwhelming force.
And from Pharaoh's point of view, the chase works, at least at first.
Yeah, they catch up to the Israelites exactly where they were told to camp.
By the sea near Pi-Hahiroth, opposite Baal-zephon.
The trap was sprung, just as the divine plan, according to the text, anticipated.
So picture it, sea in front, nowhere to go sideways.
And then the dust cloud on the horizon. The entire Egyptian army.
What was the Israelites' response?
Panic. Utter panic. The passage says they were terrified and cried out to the Lord.
You can almost feel it reading the words. Their complaint to Moses is just raw desperation.
And regret. They hit him with, was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die?
Wow. What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt?
And they even look back at slavery, almost fondly, quoting themselves.
Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians?
It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert.
It's just a stark insight into human psychology under extreme pressure, isn't it?
Absolutely. How quickly that recent evidence of power, the plagues, the leaving.
Gets overridden by immediate, overwhelming fear. Suddenly, the known oppression seems safer.
Yeah, safer than this terrifying unknown.
But Moses' response here is crucial. Despite their terror, their accusations,
He steps up. He gives this profound message of reassurance. He tells them, do not be afraid.
stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today.
And then that amazing line, the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again.
Talk about confidence. And he follows it with this powerful statement about relying on God.
The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still.
It's a call for just radical trust. In the face of impossible odds, they're told they don't need to fight. Just be still.
But then here's a fascinating turn. Right after Moses says, be still.
The Lord speaks to Moses.
And it's not, yeah, good job telling them to be still. It's almost a rebuke, isn't it?
Kind of. The Lord asks, why are you crying out to me?
Tell the Israelites to move on.
So stillness wasn't the final instruction. Action was needed.
Right, it suggests maybe even Moses needed that specific, immediate direction right then. Stand firm, yes, but now, move.
And the instruction about the sea itself is so direct. Sets the stage for the miracle.
Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water.
So that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. Immediate action for Moses, coupled with divine power.
And then the Lord repeats the plan about the Egyptians. Reinforces the trap.
I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them.
So the sea isn't just a path for Israel. It's also the instrument for revealing God's glory to the Egyptians through their destruction.
And that purpose is stated again, hammering it home.
And I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord.
When I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen, it's explicitly framed. Their end is meant to force acknowledgement.
So, as this is all being set up, the passage describes this amazing movement of the divine presence.
The angel of God, yeah, which had been leading them.
Withdraws,
Yeah.
goes behind them, and the pillar of cloud that was out front,
Also moves, positions itself behind the Israelites.
coming right between the two armies.
Yeah.
Egypt and Israel.
And this cloud pillar has this crucial dual function described for that whole night.
Yeah, throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other.
So neither went near the other all night long. It's a tangible barrier. Light and safety for Israel, darkness and confusion for Egypt.
Incredible imagery. So with this divine shield in place, the focus snaps back to the sea.
Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, just as commanded.
And then the text describes the mechanism. It wasn't instantaneous necessarily.
No, it says, all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind.
And turned it into dry land. A powerful, directed natural force described in the text.
And the result is that iconic image, the waters were divided.
And the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left.
That impassable barrier becomes a pathway.
But incredibly, despite seeing this miracle unfold, despite the cloud,
The Egyptians pursue, their hardened hearts maybe.
must be. The passage says, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea.
They go right into this opened pathway, into the heart of the divine action.
And this is where the divine intervention turns actively against them, inside the sea passage itself.
Right, during the last watch of the night, it says the Lord looked down and threw it into confusion.
And there's that specific, almost chaotic detail about the sabotage,
He made the wheels of their chariots come off.
so that they had difficulty driving. Imagine that. Your chariot wheels just coming off in the middle of the seabed.
While walls of water tower over you. Terrifying.
And this direct interference, this sign that something is fundamentally wrong, it leads to a moment of realization, even for them.
They cry out, let's get away from the Israelites.
The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. They finally get it, or at least they identify the power against them.
But it's too late.
Yeah. This realization basically coincides with the final command to Moses.
Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back.
Over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen.
Moses obeys, stretches out his hand again.
And at daybreak, the sea went back to its place.
Just returned. And the Egyptians.
They were fleeing toward the returning water, trying to get back to the shore they came from.
But the passage is stark. The Lord swept them into the sea.
The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen, the entire army.
That had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived.
Complete annihilation of the pursuing force is described.
And the narrative immediately contrasts that. But the Israelites,
Went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left, safe on the other side.
Wow. So the immediate aftermath, what does the text say?
It's described with really clear visual impact. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians.
And Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. They physically saw the evidence, the complete defeat.
Yeah, no ambiguity.
And witnessing this overwhelming power, it had a profound effect, right? The chapter ends this section saying,
When the Israelites saw the great power the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord.
and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant.
So the narrative presents this as a turning point from that earlier terror and complaint.
To fear and trust, a different kind of fear, maybe awe, respect.
Could be. It's definitely a shift prompted by seeing this incredible display.
So we've walked through this incredible story in Exodus 14, from what looked like a dead end
Through the panic, the doubt, the reassurance.
to these tangible, dramatic, divine acts, hardening hearts, the cloud dividing the sea, messing with the chariots, the final destruction.
And ending with that transformation in the people's response, as described.
Thinking about it, how does witnessing something so powerful, so singular described, with all those details, the wind, the dry ground, the water walls, the wheels coming off, how does that shape belief and trust right there in the moment?
It's a huge question. And for us, reading it now, what does it mean when you face what feels like an impossible obstacle? And you hear echoes of stand firm, or like Moses suddenly get told, move on.
Right. Does this story offer a model, or is it just describing a unique, unrepeatable event?
And the text keeps emphasizing the purpose, doesn't it? So the Egyptians would know that I am the Lord.
And so Israel would fear the Lord and put their trust in him.
Yeah. So beyond just the historical account presented here, what does it really mean in the context of this story to know or fear this powerful force?
Is it just about recognizing overwhelming power? Like, okay, you're stronger than us.
Or does this specific experience, the deliverance through destruction, suggest something deeper? A different kind of knowing, a different kind of fearing, tied to salvation and judgment happening simultaneously. Something to think about.